Hello everyone, good afternoon. Welcome to our discussion panel. Today we are trying to answer a very important philosophical question, a very challenging question, which the question is, what is a self? What does it mean when I say I am? What does it mean when I say myself? How can we define selfhood philosophically? So to tackle this question, to answer this question, we have invited 4 distinguished thinkers, 4 philosophers, from 4 different eras, from 4 different countries and 4 different times. I'll invite each one of them to the stage in hopes of answering this question. The first philosopher who I would like to introduce is a philosopher from Kenya, from eastern Kenya, an African philosopher, an angelic priest, and a writer. He's well known as the father of modern African theology. So I'd like to welcome Mbiti onto the stage. Welcome. All right, very happy to have him here. Second philosopher is Mikhail Bakhtin, a Russian philosopher, a writer, a critic, and a linguist. Mikhail Bakhtin, you can come. The third philosopher is a very famous one, a French philosopher, a mathematician, a scientist. You've probably heard of him before, René Descartes. Come onto the stage. And last but not least, the founder of Western philosophy, the man himself, Socrates. Come onto the stage. You can come on, Socrates. See, it's well done. I'm always thinking. All right, so let's start our discussion. And we will start with, of course, none other than the other, Socrates. Socrates, can you define what a self is? Can you tell us about your views? Socrates, my question was, how do you understand self? What does it mean when you say self?
Self. What is self, right?
Yes.
So, thank you for having me on board. For me, self is, for me, self is not just a fixed entity. It is something that you can discover through constant questioning. And I believe that you must recognize your ignorance. And for this, that's what I said in the apology, that the unexamined life is not worth living. You must put yourself in a dialogue to understand your beliefs and question your thoughts, your actions, your ideology to understand yourself better.
All right, thank you for your remark. Descartes, what are your thoughts on this matter?
Thank you so much for having us here. I would answer your question of what is selfhood with more reason and doubts. I would say self is more related to the thinking and with the consciousness. As in my early saying, I said, I think and therefore I am. It's totally related to the consciousness and the critical thinking. The more you will think, the more you will discover yourself. So it's all about your mind. You have to be critical. You have to be logical, and you have to do reasoning with everyone. So that's the true essence of self, and you have to set your mind free in order to think free. So that's the true definition of selfhood.
Thank you for your remark. Mbiti, what about you? How do you define self?
Thank you so much. According to the African philosophy, Ubuntu in particular, we say that self cannot be separated from the community. Self is made out of the relationships we have with the community, and therefore it is in connection with our ancestors, our community, and even our future generations that we're able to define ourselves. We don't become people, or personhood is not defined only because we are born as people. It is something that we earn and grow into through our daily interactions with the community. If you look at the African community, we used to have tribunal courts. We didn't focus on punishing an individual if there is an offense that has been done, to prove that it's a relationship between an individual and a community. We focus on fixing that relationship rather than punishing that individual, because it is the community that has shaped this individual. So if there is any problem with this individual, then it's a relationship that is not working well. Yeah, so a self cannot exist as a solitary mind.
So you believe it has more to do with the community rather than an individual?
Sure.
Thank you. Thank you. Bakhtin, can you give us your remark on the matter?
Thank you so much. I also think that self isn't something you have on your own. It's not something like it's inside you. It is basically shaped through languages, and we can say it can be made by talking to others. So in my work on dialectism, I have explained that our thoughts and like the sense of who we are actually come from the constant interaction of different voices around us. So I have termed this mix of voice like a heteroglossia. So there is no such thing as self by like without interacting with out. So like if you are alone, you can still think, and your thinking is the interaction with other. You are thinking and interacting with others in your mind, because like this is the kind of reaction which you provide to other who have already been said something, or they might say something. So if we talk about the linguistic and psychology, so they also support this idea. Like kids develop their sense of who they are, or develop their sense of self by talking to others. As Vygotsky also showed that our higher level thinking starts with the social interaction. So I would say we do not become ourselves by being alone. We become ourselves through others. We become who we are through others.
All right, thank you. Thank you for your remark. So as you also pointed out, you think it's important to define self in terms of conversation with others. So I can already see some conflicting views on the stage. Descartes, on the other hand, he thinks that self is an individual thing. It's in the mind of an individual. It doesn't have anything to do with the community or with the groups around them. But I can see that Mbiti and Bakhtin are thinking about groups. Self is defined by a group. So we already have some disagreements on the stage. So let's tackle those disagreements. Let's see how these guys can defend their views. So I'll start with Descartes again. Descartes, can you tell us, how do you see your view in relation to the other ones?
So I would say, if you want to define or logically discover your selfhood, you must be thinking of something which is actually present, and you can think of it's your mind. It's very independent of the flesh or body or the community or the people who we are surrounding of. So imagine if there is a patient, Mbiti, it's for you, and he is not able to move his body, like he is paralyzed or locked in a assigned room. So don't you think his brain, his mind is constantly thinking of something? Although his body is paralyzed, but his brain, it's working efficiently and effectively. So I guess my point of view is also backed by the science. So there's a logical reasoning for selecting the mind instead of the community, that we learn from the community. Community, maybe they have some role, but the true essence of the selfhood begins with the mind and not with the community.
Mbiti, do you have any response to that? He says, if someone is paralyzed, his body is gone, he's not interacting with the community, but nonetheless, he still thinks, he's still conscious and aware of himself. So how can you respond to this point?
Yeah, we look at it differently because we believe that whatever we are, even at that point of paralysis, it is whatever that is running in our mind is still based on what we see in the environment, what we hear, what we have learned. And so we still believe, we strongly believe that what you grow into is entirely in the hands of the community. My friend here, Descartes, he's French. He's able to speak French because he was born in France. So whatever he has become, the arguments he makes are based entirely on the community that he came from. So we still believe that it takes a person to interact with the community to be able to build the self. And also, if you look at current studies, they say that people who spend more time alone are more prone to mental health problems. What does this tell us about identity? This means that our identity grows more if we interact with others or if we have a communal interaction rather than isolating ourselves.
Nice. So you believe that even his intrinsic thoughts are coming from the community, actually. All right. So I can see that the gap between you guys are too big. So this is why I'll bring Bakhtin into the conversation. Bakhtin, can you build some bridges between them? Can you pick a side maybe?
Yeah, I would add that even our thoughts depend on the interaction. So, like, if you are like we learn who we are from the beginning, from the first moment when we start speaking, we learn from that moment. So, in my opinion, there is no such thing as self without others, because our mind it responds only to the voice, and our voice respond only to the voice of others.
Yeah. So you're leaning more towards his side.
Yeah.
There's no self as an individual. So to pull this down a little bit, this agreement, maybe we can go to Socrates to give us some of his wisdom, some of his advices. What do you have? What advice do you have for the others in this regard, Socrates?
Okay, so you all make a good point, but let me offer you a clear warning here. I said clear warning. The one guy said, like, Mbiti? Sorry. So he said that one should think critically to understand the self. And the other hand, he said that The one said that you must learn from the community, the ideologies. So I want to add another ingredient here. The main ingredient is the questioning. The one people are saying so many little things. You must adopt the habit of questioning, like what, why, and how. Don't just go with the flow. You must self-reflect yourself, your lives, your intentions.
Right. Okay.
I will still cling with my idea that you have to be critically reasonable person so you can think independently, and it's not always depends on the community, so that you have to develop your selfhood. Mbiti, there is another scenario for you. You are also a philosopher, so you can just think about it. Imagine yourself in a desert when you are all alone and there is no one, no human. So with whom you will compare yourself, from whom you will develop your selfhood, or from where you will discover your selfhood. Isn't it possible that we can just critically think and reason about everything and we develop our selfhood?
Okay, let's have a quick response from Mbiti and then we'll wrap this up.
In response to this, even at this point, I still believe that when you are isolated, alone, in the, say, a desert, we are able to carry these connections in our memories, through how we were brought up, and just the reaction or how you will respond to the situation that you'll be in that situation when you are isolated, the conversations that you'll have with yourself in your mind, the voice or the language that you will use is all dependent on a particular thing that you have seen or you've learned before. It is not an entirely independent system that you'll be using your brain only. It is something that you have taken from somewhere. So I still believe even at this point, it is still something that you've brought from your community.
Okay, thank you a lot. I think we are a little bit short on time. As interesting as the conversation is, but I'm afraid we have to go to the audience. Maybe they have a couple of questions. So at the maximum, we can take only 1 or 2 questions from the audience because our philosophers are very busy people and they have other debates with some other Chinese philosopher. I think Confucius, Descartes has one. So let's go to the audience. Maybe you can help us out. If anyone has maybe 1 question or maximum 2 questions, we will be happy to receive.
Socrates is already busy, so he will not be able to answer.
Okay.
Any questions? No.
So you guys are not critically thinking.
They're not thinking, no.
You should interact with each other and make some questions.
Don't you think why you are sitting here?
It's all right. I think since we don't have any questions, we can just go to the final statement from our philosophers, a closing statement. Let's take 1 short sentence, under a minute maybe. Each one of you summarize your whole philosophy and also maybe relate your philosophy to education. How can a student learn from your philosophy? How can you educate a student? I'll go with, let's start with John Mbiti. John Mbiti, what is you? Summarize it in under 1 minute, please.
Okay, in summary, we are saying that we cannot be entirely independent and depend on our minds only because what we have taken from someone else. And traditionally in Africa, children used to learn by being part of a group where you go and help, learn, practice, and also help teach others.
Right.
So therefore, that is why in our community, respect, teamwork, and family are very important in shaping who we are.
Right.
Yeah.
So group and community is important and it also creates teamwork. Thanks a lot. Descartes, your final thought.
So, as in our Western culture and the education system, we are mostly encouraging our students to critically think and be reasonable. So, I would say there we develop a sense of questioning, like we have to constantly question what do we know, and we have to discover the answer by doing logical thinking and critical reasonings. It will create a sort of independence, stability, and I would say confidence in the students. So that's the whole background, or we can say the backbone for our Western education system. And that's the true essence of selfhood.
Self comes from individuals and it creates confidence within education. Okay, thanks. Bakhtin, your final thought?
I would conclude that, like, in a classroom, you should always hear many voices. Students learn better when they are in group, when they stay together, when they challenge each other, when they compete. So that's how they build new ideas. In my conclusion, I will say learning is like a one-way lecture, not some. Learning is like a dialogue, not a one-way lecture.
So So selfhood is defined by monologue, not by dialogue. Thanks. Socrates, your final thought on this matter. Let's wrap this discussion up. Socrates, we're a little bit short on time. You have to wrap this up.
So, what are you saying?
My question was, give us your closing remark on this matter.
Okay. So, what's the matter?
The matter is, what is a self to you? Just close it.
No, I remember. Okay, so for me, education should begin with the question, by asking the question. So you don't just memorize the facts, question them. Question your thoughts, your actions, and ideologies. So for me, the self-reflection is important in order to understand yourself better.
All right, thanks a lot. I hope with this discussion, we came a little bit closer to understanding what a self is. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Thanks a lot. Let's have a applause.